Think about the last thing you really wanted. The thing you were sure would make life better. The phone, the promotion, the car, the bigger place, whatever it was. Now think about how long the happiness lasted once you got it. If you're honest, it was likely not long. A few days, perhaps a few weeks. Then it quietly became the new normal, and some part of you started looking at the next thing. I have noticed this in my own life. The anticipation often feels stronger than the ownership. Once the thing arrives, the excitement fades faster than I expected, and my attention moves somewhere else. That gap between how good we are certain the next thing will feel and how quickly it fades into ordinary is one of the most important things you can understand about being human. Today, I want to talk about the strange, quiet freedom which comes from wanting less. Not having less, wanting less. They are different, and the difference might be the whole thing. Let me start with the mechanism, because it helps you to know you are not broken. This happens to everyone. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation, and it is beautifully, frustratingly reliable. Whatever good things happen to you, you adapt to it. The raise which felt enormous becomes, within a matter of months, your salary. The new house which becomes the house. The thing you've longed for becomes the thing you own and barely notice. I find this slightly unsettling. Your mind takes something once you dreamed about and quietly files it under ordinary. We are built to adapt. It keeps our ancestors striving, but it means acquiring things rarely delivers lasting contentment. The finish line moves the moment you reach it. You run, you arrive, and the line quietly slides forward again, then off you go. Here is the part which should make you angry, or at least alert. A great deal of what you want, you were taught to want. We were born needing little, but now we live inside the most sophisticated wanting machine ever built. Billions are spent every year with one goal: to make you feel what you have is not quite enough. Every ad, every feed, every carefully lit image of someone else's life is designed to open a small gap of dissatisfaction inside you. That gap is where things get sold. You are swimming all day in manufactured wanting. I notice it most when I spend too much time online. I can begin the day feeling content and end it convinced I need a better desk, a better routine, a better body, and a kitchen designed for someone who apparently cooks 12 hours a day. Nothing in my real life changed, only my sense of enough changed. So if you feel low, constant sense of being behind, of everyone else something you do, it is not a personal failure. It is the product working as designed. The loud answer to all of this is everywhere, and it points in the wrong direction. It says, want more, dream bigger, hustle for the next level, manifest abundance. You deserve more. It sounds aspirational, but look at what it promises. Contentment lives on the far side of acquisition. You will finally feel enough once you have enough, but you already know the trap bit because you have lived it. Chasing contentment by getting more is like chasing the horizon. You run towards it forever, and it keeps moving at your speed. The Stoics and the Epicureans alongside them made a move which sounds almost too simple and is quietly radical. They said contentment does not come from having more, it comes from wanting less. Seneca put it with a knife's edge. It is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the man who craves more. Think about what that means. By this definition, you could be surrounded by plenty and still be poor if you are consumed by wanting. You could also have modest means and be genuinely rich if your wants are few and met. Epictetus said the same from the other side. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This is not a poetic flourish. It is a practical strategy. Having more is a target which moves and which life might take from you. Wanting less is achievable, lasting, and within your control. You will never win the game of more. You can win the game of enough. I need to be careful here because people often mishear this idea, and the misreading ruins it. Wanting less does not mean wanting nothing. It is not a vow of poverty. It is not giving up your ambitions, refusing to enjoy nice things, or feeling guilty for wanting a comfortable life. The Stoics were not monks. Seneca himself was wealthy. The point was never deprivation. The point was freedom from compulsion. I have bought things I felt certain I needed. For a while, getting them felt important. Then they blended into the background, and my mind found a new target. That pattern taught me something uncomfortable. The problem was rarely the object. The problem was my belief that the object would settle something inside me. The real distinction is this. Are you wanting from fullness or from a whole? You can pursue things. You can build, earn, create, and improve your life from a place of, I have enough and this will be good. That is healthy. That is part of being alive. Or you can chase from a place of, I am not enough until I get this. That is the treadmill. It never stops because the whole was never about the thing. The action might look the same from the outside, but the engine is different. One is choice. The other is compulsion, wearing a mask of choice. Wanting less does not mean doing less. It means acting from peace instead of lack. Let us make this practical, because want less is as useless as every other slogan unless you know what to do with it. First, catch the treadmill in the act. When you feel the pull of the next thing, pause and ask, honestly, will this change my life in a month? Or will it become the new normal? While my wanting moves on. Most of the time, you already know the answer. Naming it helps. This is hedonic adaptation. This is the treadmill. I have found the urge often becomes weaker once I name it. The desire does not always disappear, but it stops feeling like an instruction I must obey. You create little space between wanting something and acting on the want. Second, use gratitude the way the Stoics meant it, which is sharper than writing a gratitude list. They practiced imagining the loss of what they already had. Picture, briefly, losing the ordinary things you have stopped noticing. Your health, the people close to you, the roof over you, the small comforts of a normal day. It sounds morbid, but the purpose is the opposite. It brings the current moment back into focus. It shows you that a great deal of what you would desperately want if you lost it is already present. I sometimes catch myself treating a peaceful, uneventful day as if nothing happened. Then I remember how much I will value the same day during a crisis. That thought changes the texture of the day. Ordinary stops looking empty. Wanting less often means seeing clearly what is already here. Thirdly, define enough out loud and in advance. The wanting machine works because more has no finish line. So draw one yourself. What would be enough? Enough money? Enough space? Enough clothing? Enough technology? Enough status? Most people have never asked themselves this question. This is why they feel behind regardless of how much they accumulate. I think enough needs a real definition. Without one, every achievement becomes temporary, evidence that you should aim higher again. Enough is not a ceiling on your life. It is what lets you stop running long enough to live in it. Fourth, occasionally check less on purpose. Go without something for a while. Do it as an experiment, but not as a punishment. Seneca advised deliberately living with little from time to time. His aim was to prove that the thing people fear losing is often less frightened than they imagined. When you show yourself that you are fine with less, the fear driving much of your wanting starts to loosen. You stop clutching because you have felt firsthand that your peace does not depend on the next acquisition. There have been periods in my life when I had fewer options, fewer comforts, or less money to spend. Some of these periods were difficult, but they also showed me how quickly my definition of necessary had expanded without my permission. Once I had stripped things back, I noticed I needed less than I thought to settle. A quiet room, enough food, something meaningful to work on, a few people I trusted, a little time without noise. The list was shorter than the world had encouraged me to believe. Here is the bigger thing underneath all this, and it is worth saying plainly. An entire economy depends on you never feeling like you have enough. Your dissatisfaction is a business model. Contentment, genuine and quiet contentment with a good enough life, becomes an act of resistance. To look at what you have and think, this is enough, I can stop wanting now, is to step off a treadmill. Many forces would prefer you stayed on forever. It is one of the few radical things left, to be satisfied on purpose. I do not always manage this. I still compare, I still want upgrades, I still catch myself believing life will become cleaner and easier after the next purchase or achievement. But I believe the goal is not to eliminate wanting. The goal is to stop believing every want deserves your obedience. This is not lowering your standards for your life. It is raising your standard for what is allowed to disturb your peace. You stop letting every advertised upgrade, every glimpse of someone else's highlight reel, and every manufactured desire set the terms of your contentment. You decide what enough looks like, then let yourself feel it now, instead of keeping it one purchase away. Because the richest feeling in the world was never getting what you want. It is the quiet moment when you realise you do not need it. You already have enough. You can set the wanting down and be here in a life which, seen clearly and without the machine whispering your ear, was already more than enough. If you feel a little lighter, that is the point. You are carrying more than wanting than you needed to. Stay a while if this helped. There is more here every week on Living Quietly in a Loud World.